Hey there, so I have another Alpha Pets book. This one is Vinnie Takes a Bow. So Vinnie the vocal vulture is all the way down here on the bottom, really close to the end of the Alpha Pets. So Vinnie takes a bow. One day, Vinnie the vocal vulture was walking down Main Street when he saw some of his friends coming down the steps of the Alpha Pet concert hall. "Good morning, Vinnie," called Bradley the brave bear. "You are just the person we're looking for." "A very, very good morning to you too, my dear Bradley. And why might you all be looking for me, dear friends?" Vinnie asked. "We're all volunteering to play in the spring concert, and we need someone who can play the violin," said Gertie the grungy goat. "We know you are a wonderful violinist, Vinnie. Will you play with us?" The sign over here says, "Alpha Pet Concert Hall, Spring Concert Under the Stars." Oh, that sounds nice. "Play with you? Play with you?" Vinnie said. "Why, it would give me great pleasure, the very greatest of pleasures, to play with you. If I've said it once, I've said it 100, no 1,000 times. There's nothing as wonderful as playing with friends. I'll play anything you like. Football, baseball, jacks, hide and seek, marbles." "Stop, stop! You've missed the whole point, Vinnie," Nellie the naughty newt shouted. "Listen, we wanted you to play your violin in the orchestra. We'll be playing outdoors under the stars." Now, an orchestra is a whole bunch of people who play all different kinds of instruments. They have violins and they have maybe like trumpets or stuff like that, and they all play together. It's called an orchestra. "Yes," added Wendy the wise woodchuck, "we're having a rehearsal tomorrow. Bring your violin and meet us here at sundown. Don't forget, tomorrow at sundown." "How delightful! Perfectly delightful," Vinnie said. "I'd love to play my violin under the stars, the twinkling, glistening, shining stars, the bright and beautiful glittering stars." The Alpha Pets waved goodbye and hurried off, shaking their heads. "That Vinnie sure can talk," said Nellie. "Does he ever stop to listen?" asked Queenie the quiet quail. The next afternoon, Vinnie took out his violin and made sure it was properly tuned. He tested the bow and the vibrations each string made. That evening, he polished his instrument and placed it in its case. "I want to be sure that everything goes well at rehearsal," Vinnie thought. Then he scratched his head and said to himself, "Now let me see. When is that rehearsal? What did Wendy say? Is it Sunday at 2? Tomorrow at sunrise? Is it Monday at noon?" Vinnie wasn't listening. Just then, Gertie and Monty the mimicking mouse rang Vinnie's doorbell. "Why weren't you at rehearsal?" Gertie asked Vinnie as soon as he opened the door. "We waited and waited, but you didn't show up." "You didn't show up? Why?" Monty said. "My word," Vinnie cried. "How could I have missed the rehearsal? How is it possible? Why, I especially prepared my violin. I cleaned it and polished it and tuned it ever so carefully. I truly, truly planned on coming to the rehearsal, but I wasn't sure of the time. I seem to remember that Wendy said something about Sunday at 2 under the stars." "Wendy said tomorrow at sundown. That was this evening," Gertie said. "You weren't listening." "Yes," Monty agreed. "You weren't listening." "I'm awfully, horribly, terribly sorry," Vinnie said. "Please come in." "We've stopped by to tell you that we're playing Swan Lake," said Gertie. "Practice the violin part and be at rehearsal Tuesday morning. You can buy the sheet music at the music store." "Oh, yes, yes, indeed. I will go to the store first thing in the morning," Vinnie exclaimed. "How I do love to go to the store. Yes, indeed. Think of all the things there are to buy. A treasure trove of valuables. Crystal vases, vacuum cleaners, velvet pants, weather vanes, ivy vines, Venetian blinds, Victorian chairs, valentines, vitamins, and Viennese cakes. Velour coats, vicuña, vest, vinegar, vanilla creams, and of course, violets and veils." Good glory, declared Gertie. All you do is talk. Don't you ever listen? Good glory, Monty repeated. Have no fear, Vinnie said. I'll surely be there Tuesday morning. Indeed I will. And then the three said good night. Gertie and Monty left Vinnie's house, hoping for the best. The next morning, Vinnie got up bright and early to go shopping. At the music store, Vinnie looked through the music sheets, but suddenly he wasn't sure of the name of the music he was supposed to get. Now let me see, he thought. What did Gertie say? Which piece are we playing? He kept looking through stacks and stacks of music, hoping something would look right. And then he saw a familiar title. Aha, Vinnie said, that's it. Swanee River. How I do love that melody. Vinnie took the music home and practiced it from morning to night for the next 2 days. I know this piece by heart, he thought. The alphabets will be so proud of me. So very, very proud. Yes, indeed. How thrilled they'll be when they hear the sweet music my violin makes. I can see it all now. The whole orchestra will stand and applaud me. Vinnie. Vinnie the vibrant violinist. He's a little vain. On Tuesday morning, Vinnie played his piece one more time. Then he checked his vest pocket watch against the wall clock to be sure he wouldn't be late. He packed his violin carefully and went to the concert hall. The whole orchestra was already there, tuning their instruments. Greetings, Vinnie. I'm glad you didn't miss this rehearsal, said Sylvester the stubborn squirrel, who was standing on the conductor's platform. Vinnie started to answer Sylvester, but Wendy smiled at him and put her finger over her lips. Shh, Wendy whispered. We're about to begin. Here's the whole orchestra. Look at all those instruments. Vinnie unpacked his violin. He took out his music and placed it on the music stand. When everyone was ready, Sylvester tapped his baton and lifted his arms. The whole orchestra started to play. Then he raised his violin to his chin and placed the bow against the strings. But when he played the first few notes, the orchestra stopped. Everyone turned around to look at him. Rap, 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 went Sylvester's baton. Vinnie, what is that you're playing? He asked. Swanee River, of course, Vinnie said. Why, this is one of the finest old songs ever written, and no, Sylvester shouted. Don't you ever listen. We're playing Swan Lake, not Swanee River. Sylvester grabbed a copy of Swan Lake off his music stand and handed it to Vinnie. Now try to pay attention, please, he said. Be sure to keep your eyes on me. When I point my baton your way, it will be your turn to play. Sylvester tapped his baton and the orchestra started to play again. Vinnie felt very embarrassed. He turned to Monty and whispered, I can explain what happened. You see, when I went to the music store, there were stacks and stacks of music sheets, and Vinnie was so busy talking that he did not see Sylvester motion to him. Stop, 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 Sylvester shouted. Vinnie, it was your turn to play, but what were you doing? Talking, that's what. Sylvester wiped the perspiration off his forehead and told the orchestra to take a rest. Then he said to Vinnie, the concert is tomorrow night. If you don't pay attention, I won't let you play in this orchestra. Tears filled Vinnie's eyes. I want to play in this orchestra more than anything, he cried. What went wrong? Why, oh, what? Listen, Wendy said. Listen to what? Vinnie asked. Just listen, Vinnie. Listen to what people have to say. Pay attention to what they want. Then you'll know what to do and say, said Wendy. That's communicating. Then Wendy said, I'm sure Sylvester will give you another chance if you promise to play when it's your turn. And I'll help you by reminding you. When you see me wink my eye, you'll know it's your turn. That's communicating without any words at all. Agreed, Vinnie said. My eyes are open, my lips are sealed. Vinnie pretended to lock his lips and throw away the key. On the evening of the concert, the members of the Alpha Pet Orchestra were on stage, tuning their instruments. I wonder if Vinnie will get here in time, Queenie whispered. I wonder if he'll bring the right music, Nellie said. I wonder if he'll know when it's his turn to play, added Herbie. I wonder if he'll show up at all, said Gertie. I wonder too, Monty repeated. Just then Vinnie arrived. He smiled at his friends and bowed to the conductor, took out his violin, and was ready to play. And play he did. He saw Wendy out of the corner of his eye, but he didn't need any help. None at all. When Sylvester signaled him to play, Vinnie's violin sang the sweetest music anyone had ever heard. When the concert was over, the people in the audience jumped to their feet. Vinnie! Vinnie! They called. Then Vinnie stepped up to the microphone and said, Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, grandmas, grandpas, uncles, aunts, and little babies, I hope you have enjoyed this year's spring concert performance. That's a performance played in concert, ladies and gentlemen. Doing things in concert means doing things together. Ah, yes. And how can people get things done together? I'll tell you. By communicating. That's right, communicating. Giving and talking, seeing and showing, listening and talking. And of course, making beautiful music together. If I've said it once, I've said it 100, no 1,000 times. That's right, 1,000 times. People should stop talking so much and start listening. Yes, indeed. And furthermore, oh no, sighed Gertie, here we go again. Here we go again, agreed Monty. And that's the end of Vinnie's story. All right. So these are the V words in the book. We have Vinnie the vocal vulture, vacuum cleaner, vase, violin, vegetables, volcano, a vest, and violets. And they all start with V. And V is right here all the way down at the bottom. And that's the end of Vinnie's story.